There was something wrong with the morning, and no one could name it. The sun came up like it always did, slow and pale, touching the roofs of old buildings and the cracked road below. Birds made noise. Buses honked. People hurried past each other with tired faces and heavy thoughts. Life moved forward, even when it didn't feel kind. In a small room behind a closed metal door, a little girl sat very still. Her name was Lena. She was about 6 years old, very small for her age. Her body was thin, like she had learned early how to take up little space. Her skin was dark and warm, but dusty. Her hair was short and rough, cut unevenly by time, not scissors. Her eyes were large and quiet, the kind of eyes that watched before speaking. Lena sat on the edge of a wooden stool that wobbled when she moved. She held her hands together on her lap, fingers locked tight, like she was afraid one might run away. She wore a faded dress with tiny flowers that had lost their color long ago. Over it, she wore a jacket far too big for her. The sleeves covered her hands. The hem touched her knees. The jacket smelled like the road, like dust, like work. Across the room, a woman tied a scarf around her head. The woman's name was Mara. Mara was not young, but not old either. Life had made her look older than her years. Her back bent slightly when she stood. Her hands were rough and cracked. Her face held deep lines from worry, not laughter. She wore a simple shirt and a long skirt, faded from too many washes. Her shoes were worn thin at the soles. Mara moved quickly, but carefully. She always did. She checked a small bag, looked around the room, made sure nothing was forgotten, even though there was almost nothing to forget. Lena watched her closely. "Andy Mara," Lena said softly. Her voice was small, careful, like she was asking permission just to speak. Mara paused and looked at her. "Yes, my child. Can I go with you today?" Mara's hands stopped moving. "No," she said quickly. "Too quickly. You stay here." Lena lowered her eyes. "But the house will be quiet," Lena said. "The other children will go to school." Mara felt something twist inside her chest. She walked over and knelt in front of Lena. Her knees cracked as she bent. "You are still little," Mara said. "The road is not safe. You stay here. I will come back." Lena nodded, but her fingers tightened. She had learned something early in life. Nodding did not mean understanding. It only meant obedience. Still, her lips moved again. "I can be quiet," Lena whispered. "I won't move. I won't talk. I just don't want to be alone." When Mara opened her eyes, she saw fear there. Not loud fear, silent fear, the kind that lived deep and stayed long. Mara sighed. "You always do this," she said softly. "You make my heart weak." She stood up and pulled a bright orange jacket from a hook on the wall. The jacket was thick and heavy. It had white lines that shined when light touched them. She slipped it over Lena's shoulders. It was huge on her. The sleeves swallowed her hands. The jacket hung low, almost like armor. "This is my work jacket," Mara said. "You wear it. Stay close to me. Do not leave my side." Lena's face changed. Her eyes lit up, not with joy, with relief. "Yes, Auntie Mara," she said quickly. "I will stay close. I promise." Mara nodded, but worry stayed in her eyes. They stepped out into the street together. The city was loud, dirty, alive. Mara held Lena's hand tightly as they walked. Cars rushed by. People shouted. The smell of smoke and food mixed in the air. Lena looked around with quiet wonder. She always did. She had not always lived like this. There was a time, long ago, though it felt like another life, when Lena had a grandmother, a small house, a warm voice calling her name. But that voice was gone now, and the house was gone too. All Lena had left was Mara's hand. They reached the work area where Mara cleaned streets for the city. Other workers were already there, women with tired faces, men with bent backs. They greeted Mara with small nods. "And who is this little one?" a woman asked. "This is Lena," Mara said. "She stays with me." The woman smiled sadly. "She is polite," she said. "Too polite for a child." Lena smiled shyly and looked at the ground. Then everything changed. A large truck stopped nearby. No one heard it come. The air felt different, heavy. A man stepped out. He wore clean clothes. His face was stiff. He held a brown folder in his hand. The workers fell silent. Mara's hand tightened around Lena's. The man cleared his throat. "There is news," he said. "The city has reduced the budget." Lena did not understand the words, but she understood the feeling. Bad news always sounded the same. Names were called, one by one. Then the man stopped in front of Mara. "Mara Elson," he said, "today is your last day." The world seemed to tilt. Mara opened her mouth, but no sound came out. I have children, she said finally. Please. The man shook his head. It is not my choice. He handed her an envelope and turned away. Mara did not cry. Not then. She stood there, frozen. Lena tugged at her sleeve. Auntie Mara, she whispered. Mara bent down and picked her up, even though Lena was heavy for her thin arms. We are going home, she said. They walked away slowly, past the noise, past the dust, past the eyes that did not look back. That night, Mara cried. She cried on the floor of the small room, her body shaking. Lena sat beside her, silent, holding her hand. She did not know how to fix things. So she stayed. Sometimes, staying is all a child can do. Far away, across the city, in a tall building made of glass and steel, a man stood by a wide window. His name was Adrian Hale. Adrian was in his early 30s. Tall, clean, well-built. His hair was dark and neatly cut. His clothes were sharp and expensive, like they had never known dirt. His face was calm, but his eyes were always thinking. He lived in a world very different from Lena's. Adrian held a phone in his hand, listening to a familiar voice. You work too much, the voice said warmly. I'm fine, mother, Adrian replied with a small smile. He looked out the window. Down below, people moved like ants. And then he saw her, a little girl, too small, wearing a jacket too big, holding a broom. Adrian's smile faded. His heart felt a strange pull. Why is that child not in school? He whispered. The car moved on. The moment passed, but the image stayed. That night, Lena lay awake. The jacket hung beside her, bright even in the dark. She reached out and touched it. She did not know why, but she felt something coming. Something big, something heavy. And somewhere across the city, Adrian lay awake too, staring at the ceiling, unable to forget the face of a child he did not know. The night held its breath, because their paths were moving closer. And when they crossed, nothing would ever be the same. Before we continue, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to this channel to support our growth, because this story is just getting started. The next few days felt heavy, like the air itself was tired. In the small house, mornings came too fast and nights came too slow. Mara woke up before the sun every day, not because she had work, but because worry would not let her sleep. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, counting problems she could not solve. Rent, food, school fees, 5 children, no job. Her hands shook as she tied her scarf. She tried to move quietly so the children would not wake up. But Lena was already sitting up, watching her. Lena always woke early now. Auntie Mara, Lena said softly. Are you going out again? Mara forced a smile. Yes, my child. I will look for work today. Can I come with you? Mara's smile faded. No, she said gently. You stay home. Lena nodded, but her eyes dropped. Mara felt that same pain in her chest again. I will come back quickly, Mara added, though she did not know if it was true. She stepped outside and walked the long roads of the city. She went from building to building, office to office, shop to shop. Some did not open the door. Some said they were not hiring. Some looked at her clothes and turned away. By noon, her feet hurt. Her stomach was empty. Her hope was thin. When she returned home, Lena was sitting on the floor, drawing shapes in the dust with her finger. You came back, Lena said, like she had not been sure. Mara sat beside her and pulled her into a hug. Yes, she whispered. I am here. That night, Mara cried again. But this time, she cried quietly. She did not want the children to hear. Lena lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She thought about the broom, the jacket, the road, the man in the car she barely remembered. Her small heart felt full of questions she could not ask. Across the city, Adrian's life moved fast, but his mind moved slow. He sat in meetings. He signed papers. He spoke to people who nodded and smiled. But between every task, that image came back. A child, a broom, a jacket too big. Adrian did not understand why it stayed with him. He had seen poor people before. He had helped before. But this felt different. That night, he stood in his office alone. The lights were dim. The city below glowed like stars. He remembered something. A cold night. A broken street. A small boy carrying bags for strangers. Himself. He shook his head. That was long ago, he whispered. Still, the feeling did not leave. For days later, something changed. Mara sat outside the house in the evening, watching the children play. They laughed and ran, barefoot on hard ground. For a short moment, they forgot hunger and fear. Mara smiled weakly. Then a woman sat beside her. Her name was Ruth. Ruth was older, with soft eyes and a calm voice. I heard something today, Ruth said quietly. I thought of you. Mara turned to her quickly. There is an office building not far from here, Ruth continued. They need a cleaner. They want someone fast. Hope rose like fire in Mara's chest. Are you sure? She asked. Ruth nodded. Go early tomorrow. That night, Mara did not sleep. She woke before the sun and prepared everything. She woke the older children and helped them dress for school. She fixed their hair. She packed their small bags. Then she knelt in front of Lena. Listen to me, Mara said. I am going to apply for a job. Lena nodded. You stay inside. Do not open the door. Do not go out. I will stay, Lena said quietly. Mara kissed her forehead and left. The building Ruth spoke about was tall and clean. The floor shined. The air smelled different. Mara felt small inside it. At the front desk, a woman smiled. Can I help you? I came for the cleaning job, Mara said. The interview was short. Too short. You can start tomorrow, the manager said. Mara almost cried. Thank you, she whispered. When she got home, she lifted Lena in her arms and spun her around. I got a job, she said. Lena smiled wide. That night, there was laughter again, but fear still hid in the corners. The next day, Mara went to work early. This time, she did not leave Lena alone. She stood in front of her supervisor, a strong woman named Ms. Clara. My child has no one at home, Mara said. Please, can she come with me? She will be quiet. Ms. Clara thought for a long moment. Fine, she said, but she stays close. No trouble. Mara thanked her again and again. When Lena heard the news, her eyes lit up. I will be quiet, she promised. At the office, Lena greeted everyone politely. People smiled at her calm voice and careful steps. She followed Mara from room to room. Then they reached a door larger than the others. This is an important office, Mara whispered. Sweep slowly. Do not touch anything. Lena nodded. After a while, Mara looked into her bucket. The water was dark. I need clean water, she said. Do not move. She stepped out. Lena stayed. Alone. The office was big and bright. The floor shined. The desk was wide and neat. Lena moved the mop gently. She liked helping. She liked feeling useful. Then the door opened. Lena turned, smiling, thinking it was Mara. But it was not. A tall man stood there. Clean. Well-dressed. Still, it was Adrian. He froze. His heart dropped. The room felt smaller. The child from the road. Here. In his office. Holding a mop. What is a child doing here? He whispered. Lena stood still. She felt fear crawl up her spine. Then Adrian stepped closer and bent down. Why are you cleaning my office? He asked softly. Before Lena could answer, the door opened again. Mara rushed in. The bucket fell. Water spilled. Fear took over her face. She dropped to her knees. I'm sorry, she cried. Please don't fire me. Please. Voices gathered outside. Adrian turned sharply. Everyone, go back to work, he said firmly. The door closed. Silence filled the room. Stand up, Adrian said calmly. Mara looked up, shaking. I am not angry, he said. I want to understand. He looked at Lena. Why is this child not in school? Mara swallowed hard. Then she said, it is her story. Adrian bent down again. Tell me, he said gently. Lena held the mop tight. My mother died when I was born, she said. My grandmother raised me. She died too. My family left me. The words fell heavy. The room felt cold. Adrian's chest hurt. Mara added softly. I could not leave her. Adrian stood slowly. Something inside him broke open. Come see me next week, he said to Mara. Mara did not understand, but hope filled her eyes. As they walked out, Lena looked back. Adrian watched her go, and in that moment, he knew this was not over. Not even close. The week that followed felt strange. Not bad. Not good. Just strange. Mara went back to work every day, but her heart was never calm. Every time she cleaned a room, she felt eyes on her, even when no one was there. Her hands shook when she held the mop. Her ears listened for footsteps. She kept thinking about that moment. The man's face. His calm voice. The way he looked at Lena. Not angry. Not cruel. But deep. Like he was seeing something old inside himself. Lena noticed the change. Auntie Mara. She asked one morning as they walked to work. Is the man angry with me? Mara stopped walking. No, she said quickly, kneeling down. No, my child. You did nothing wrong. But he looked at me for a long time, Lena said. Like he was sad. Mara swallowed. Yes, she said softly. Some people carry old sadness. Lena thought about that. At work, Lena stayed close, just like she promised. She swept quietly. She spoke only when spoken to. The workers liked her. Some gave her biscuits. Some patted her head. But not everyone smiled. A woman named Nora, another cleaner, watched Lena closely. She should not be here, Nora whispered to others. Children don't belong in offices. Mara heard the whispers. Fear returned. Every day, she expected bad news. Far above them, Adrian sat in his office. The office felt different now. Too quiet. He stared at the clean floor where Lena had stood with the mop. He remembered her hands, small, shaking, trying to be brave. He pressed his fingers against his desk. She's too young, he said to himself. Too young to carry that weight. His assistant knocked and entered. Sir, your schedule for the day. Cancel my afternoon meeting, Adrian said. The assistant paused. Sir, I need to visit one of our housing estates, Adrian added, and prepare school forms. The assistant's eyes widened, but she nodded. Yes, sir. Adrian leaned back. He did not fully understand what he was doing, but his chest felt tight, and he knew he could not ignore it. That evening, Mara returned home tired but hopeful. Lena helped her cook. The children laughed. For a moment, life felt normal. Then a knock came at the door. Mara froze. No one knocked this late. She opened it slowly. A man stood outside. Well-dressed. Clean shoes. Calm face. Adrian. Mara's heart nearly stopped. Good evening, he said. She fell to her knees before she could stop herself. Please, she cried. If there is a problem, let it fall on me. Don't punish the child. Adrian quickly stepped back. Please stand up, he said gently. I did not come to hurt you. Lena appeared behind Mara. She stared at Adrian. You came back, she said quietly. Adrian knelt down. Yes, he said. I told you I wanted to understand. He looked around the small room. The thin walls. The crowded space. The fear hiding in the corners. He felt something twist deep inside him. I want to help, he said. Mara shook her head, crying. I don't want trouble, she whispered. This is not trouble, Adrian said. This is a chance. He placed an envelope on the table. Come to my office tomorrow, he said. Both of you. Mara stared at the envelope like it might disappear. Why? She asked. Adrian looked at Lena. Because some stories don't end where they begin, he said. That night, Lena could not sleep. She hugged the big jacket close. Her heart beat fast. Change was coming. She could feel it. And sometimes, change is the most frightening thing of all. The next morning felt heavy before it even began. Mara woke up with her heart already racing. Her hands were cold. Her mouth felt dry. She sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the floor for a long time. Today was the day. She looked at Lena, who was already awake, sitting quietly and watching her like always. Are we going to see him again? Lena asked softly. Yes, Mara replied. But stay close to me. Don't talk unless you are asked. Lena nodded. She wore her cleanest dress. Still old. Still faded. But clean. The big orange jacket stayed behind this time. Mara did not want Lena to look like a worker today. They walked to the bus stop together. The city felt louder than usual. Every sound made Mara jump. When they reached the tall building, Mara stopped. She looked up. Glass. Steel. Money. She had never entered a place like this as a guest before. Inside, the air was cool and quiet. People moved fast, speaking softly. Shoes clicked on shiny floors. Mara felt small. Lena held her hand tightly. They were taken straight to the top floor. The door opened. Adrian stood by the window, wearing a dark suit. Clean. Calm. In control. But when he turned and saw Lena, something softened in his face. Come in, he said. They sat. No one spoke for a moment. Then Adrian broke the silence. I looked into your situation, he said to Mara. I know you lost your job before. I know you have 5 children. I know you are doing your best. Mara's eyes filled with tears. I am not lazy, she said quickly. I just need time. I know, Adrian replied. He turned to Lena. And I know you should be in school. Lena lowered her head. I want to go, she said quietly. Adrian nodded. That will change. Mara's breath caught. I have arranged a house, Adrian continued. A safe place. Enough rooms. Clean water. Electricity. Mara shook her head. No, this is too much. I have also arranged school for all the children, he said calmly. Fees paid. Uniforms ready. Mara stood up, shaking. Sir, I can't. Adrian raised his hand gently. This is not charity, he said. This is responsibility. Mara did not understand the word, but she felt its weight. Lena looked between them. Will Auntie Mara still be with me? She asked. The room went very quiet. Adrian looked at her for a long moment. Yes, he said. For now. That word stayed in the air. For now. They were driven to the new house that same day. Mara could not stop crying. The house was real. The beds were real. The kitchen was real. The children ran from room to room screaming with joy. Lena stood still. Too still. This place is very big, she whispered. Yes, Mara said. It is. That night, Lena could not sleep. The bed was too soft. The room was too quiet. She missed the sounds of the old house. She hugged her knees. Something felt wrong. Weeks passed. Life changed fast. Too fast. The children went to school. Mara started a small business with the money Adrian gave her. Food was no longer a question. But Lena changed. She spoke less. She watched more. Adrian visited often. He brought books, toys, warm smiles. He sat with Lena, listened to her, never rushed her. Sometimes he stayed too long. Sometimes he stared at her like he was afraid she would disappear. Mara noticed. So did Lena. One evening, Lena asked a question. Why do you come so much? She asked Adrian. He froze. Because I care, he said. Lena tilted her head. Like a father? The word hit the room like thunder. Mara's heart dropped. Adrian did not answer. That night, after everyone slept, Adrian sat alone in his car. His hands shook on the steering wheel. He whispered, I know this feeling. Memories came back. Being small, being alone, being chosen. He knew what he wanted to do. But wanting was not the same as being ready. The next day, Adrian went to his parents' house. He told them everything. When he finished, his mother held his hand. Sometimes, she said gently, the child who was saved grows up to save another. That night, Adrian returned to the house. Mara opened the door. His face was serious. We need to talk, he said. Lena stood behind Mara, listening. Adrian took a slow breath. There is something I want to ask, he said. Mara felt fear rush back. Lena's small hand tightened around her dress. The room held its breath. Because some questions change lives. And once spoken, they cannot be taken back. Don't forget to comment where you are watching from and hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to this channel to support our growth. The room felt too quiet. Mara stood near the door, her hands shaking. Lena stayed close to her side, half hidden by her skirt. Adrian stood across from them, tall and still, his face calm, but his eyes full. I have thought about this for a long time, Adrian said slowly. I did not come here without being sure. Mara swallowed. Sir, she said, whatever it is, please speak. Adrian looked at Lena. Not like a rich man. Not like a boss. Like someone afraid of losing something precious. Lena, he said gently. Do you remember the first time I saw you? She nodded. In the office, she said. With the mop. Yes, Adrian replied. That moment did something to me. I tried to ignore it, but I couldn't. He turned to Mara. I grew up without parents, he said. I know what it feels like to be unwanted. To feel small in a big world. Mara's eyes filled with tears. I don't just want to help anymore, Adrian continued. I want to take responsibility. Mara's heart pounded. What do you mean? She whispered, though part of her already knew. Adrian took a deep breath. I want to adopt Lena. The words fell heavy. Mara felt the ground shift under her feet. Adopt? She repeated. Lena's eyes widened. She understood the word. She had heard it before. From other children. From stories. Adrian knelt down in front of Lena. I want to be your father, he said softly. If you want me to. The room stopped breathing. Lena's hands trembled. Will I still see Annie Mara? She asked. Yes, Adrian said quickly. Always. Lena turned to Mara. Mara's chest hurt so badly she thought she might fall. She knelt and held Lena's face. I took you in because I could not leave you, Mara said, her voice breaking. But if this gives you a future I cannot give, then I will not stand in the way. Lena cried. Mara cried. Adrian closed his eyes, holding back tears. I promise, he said. She will never feel alone again. Weeks passed. Papers were signed. Rooms were prepared. Hearts were tested. The day Lena left the small house, she hugged Mara for a long time. You saved me first, Lena whispered. Mara held her tight. And you saved me too. At Adrian's home, everything was new. A big room, clean clothes, a soft bed. But what mattered most was this. Someone waited for her every night. Someone listened. Someone chose her. Adrian became her father. Not by blood, by love. Mara watched from a distance as Lena grew happier, stronger, braver. Life moved forward. Then one evening, years later, Lena stood alone in Adrian's office. She looked at the clean floor, the wide desk, and smiled, because she remembered. She remembered the mop, the jacket, the fear, and she understood something important. Kindness does not just change moments. It changes lives. But just as Lena touched the office door to leave, Adrian's assistant rushed in, pale and shaking. "Sir," she said urgently, "there is something you need to see. Something about Lena's past. Something that was hidden." Adrian's face hardened. "What do you mean?" he asked. The assistant swallowed. "It changes everything." Lena's smile slowly faded. And in that moment, the past came knocking. The room felt colder than before. Lena stood still near the door, her small hands pressed together. The smile she had a moment ago was gone. Her eyes moved slowly from the assistant's pale face to Adrian's hard expression. "What is it?" Adrian asked again. The assistant's voice shook. "Sir, the documents we found. They are from many years ago, from a hospital outside the city." Adrian's chest tightened. "Speak clearly," he said. The assistant looked down. Lena's birth records were hidden. Changed. Someone paid to make sure they disappeared. Mara, who had come with Lena that day, felt her knees weaken. "Why would anyone do that?" she whispered. The assistant hesitated. "Because the truth would have caused a scandal." Lena felt something twist inside her stomach. "Am I in trouble?" she asked quietly. Adrian turned to her at once. "No, never," he said firmly. But his voice was not steady. The assistant continued, forcing the words out. "Sir, Lena's mother did not die the way everyone said. And her father was not unknown." Silence fell like a heavy cloth. Adrian felt his ears ring. "Who?" he asked. The assistant swallowed. "Her father was a powerful man. Rich. Influential. He denied the child. He ordered everything buried." Mara covered her mouth. "No," she whispered. Lena looked at Mara, confused. "What does that mean?" Mara could not answer. Adrian stood up slowly. His legs felt heavy. "Do we know this man?" Adrian asked. The assistant nodded. "Yes, sir," she said. "You know him very well." The words hit like a knife. Adrian's mind raced. Old memories came rushing back. His past. His parents. His adoption. "No," he whispered. "That's not possible." The assistant opened a folder and held it out with shaking hands. "Sir, his name is Victor Hale." Adrian's blood ran cold. That was his father's name. The man who raised him. The man who saved him. The man he loved. Mara gasped loudly. "That means," she began. Adrian closed his eyes. "If this is true," he said slowly, "then Lena is not just a child I found." He opened his eyes and looked at Lena. "She is connected to me by blood." Lena's heart started beating fast. "What does blood mean?" she asked softly. Adrian knelt in front of her, but for the first time, fear was clear on his face. "It means," he said carefully, "your past is closer than we thought." Suddenly, Adrian's phone rang. He looked at the screen. An unknown number. He answered. A cold voice came through. "Stop searching," the voice said. "You were never meant to know." The call ended. Adrian stared at the phone. Someone knew. Someone was watching. And someone did not want Lena's story told. That night, no one slept well. The house was quiet, but the silence felt loud. It pressed against the walls. It followed every breath. Lena lay in her bed, staring at the ceiling. The room was big and warm, but her chest felt tight. She hugged her pillow like it could protect her from the thoughts running inside her head. Blood. Past. Hidden truth. She did not fully understand the words, but she understood the feeling. Fear. Down the hall, Adrian sat alone in his study. The lights were off. Only the city glow came through the window. His suit jacket lay on the chair, forgotten. His hands were clasped together, resting on his knees. Victor Hale. The name echoed again and again in his mind. The man who adopted him. The man who saved him. The man who taught him right from wrong. Could that same man have rejected a child? Could that same man have ordered a life erased? Adrian pressed his palms against his face. "No," he whispered. "Not him." But doubt is a quiet thing. Once it enters, it does not leave easily. Mara sat on the edge of her bed, praying softly. Her voice shook. "God," she whispered, "please protect this child. She has suffered enough." She thought of the day she found Lena alone after the burial. Small, ignored, silent. "If I had not taken her," Mara said through tears, "she would have vanished." A soft knock came at the door. Mara looked up. Adrian stood there. "I'm sorry to disturb you," he said quietly. "But may I speak with Lena?" Mara nodded slowly. "She is awake." They walked together to Lena's room. Adrian stopped at the door. For the first time since becoming her father, He felt afraid to step inside. He took a breath and entered. Lena turned her head. "Papa," she asked softly. That one word still held power. Adrian sat beside her bed. "Are you scared?" he asked. Lena thought for a moment. "Yes," she said honestly. "But not of you." Adrian's eyes burned. "That's good," he said. "Because no matter what we learn, one thing will never change." Lena sat up slowly. "What?" Adrian placed his hand over his chest. "I chose you, and I will keep choosing you. Every day." Lena watched his face carefully. "Even if my past is bad." Adrian shook his head. "Your past does not make you bad," he said. "It makes you strong." She leaned forward and hugged him. Adrian closed his eyes and held her tightly. In that moment, he made a promise to himself. No truth, no matter how dark, would ever take this child away from him. The next morning, Adrian called his lawyer. "I want everything," he said firmly. "Hospital records, old payments, names, dates." "There will be resistance," the lawyer warned. "This goes deep." "I don't care," Adrian replied. "So do I." Across the city, in a large quiet house, an older man sat reading a newspaper. Victor Hale. His hair was gray now. His hands shook slightly as he turned the page. Then his phone rang. He looked at the screen. His face changed. Slowly, he answered. "They found her, didn't they?" he said calmly. A voice replied on the other end. "Yes." Victor closed his eyes. "So," he said quietly, "the past has finally come home." He stood up and walked to the window. "Prepare everything," Victor said. "If the truth comes out, it will destroy more than one life." Back at Adrian's house, Lena stood by the window, holding a book Adrian had given her. She felt safe. But somewhere deep inside her, a small voice whispered, "Some stories are kind. Some stories are painful. And some stories are dangerous." And hers was not finished yet. The truth came quietly. Not with shouting. Not with police cars. Not with anger. It came like a tired breath finally released. Adrian stood in a small private room with his lawyer, Mara, and Victor Hale sitting across from him. Lena was not there. Adrian made sure of that. Some truths are too heavy for a child's heart. Victor looked older than his years now. His shoulders were bent. His strong voice from the past was gone. "I was afraid," Victor said slowly. "Afraid of shame. Afraid of losing everything I built." Mara felt anger rise, but she stayed silent. Victor continued. "When Lena's mother told me she was pregnant, I panicked. I paid people to erase records. I told myself the child would be taken care of." His voice broke. "I was wrong." Adrian listened, his face calm, but his eyes full of pain. "You abandoned her," Adrian said, "and the world punished her for your fear." Victor nodded, tears falling freely now. "I don't ask for forgiveness," he whispered. "I only ask that she be protected." Adrian stood. "She already is," he said firmly. "And she always will be." Victor looked up. "You will keep her?" Adrian did not hesitate. "She is my daughter," he said. "By choice. By love. By promise." Victor closed his eyes. For the first time, peace touched his face. That evening, Adrian sat beside Lena in the garden. The sun was low. The sky was soft and orange. "Papa," Lena asked, "why do people cry when they tell the truth?" Adrian smiled gently. "Because the truth is heavy," he said, "but it also makes the heart lighter." Lena nodded. "Am I safe?" she asked. Adrian pulled her close. "Yes," he said. "You are safe. You are loved. You are home." She rested her head on his chest. And for the first time in her life, Lena believed it fully. Years passed. Lena grew. She learned. She laughed. She loved. She never forgot the broom. She never forgot the jacket. She never forgot the woman who chose her when no one else did. Mara's life grew steady and bright. Her children succeeded. Her home stayed full of laughter. And Lena visited often, always running into her arms. Adrian watched his daughter become strong, not because life was easy, but because love stood beside her. And Victor? He spent his final years giving quietly. Schools, shelters, help with no name attached. It did not erase the past, but it honored the lesson. This story leaves us with something important to think about. Kindness is never wasted. Love is never small. And every action we take has a way of finding its way back to us. Hate builds walls. Love builds homes. You may never know how one small act, one open hand, one brave choice can change a life forever. So choose kindness. Choose love. Choose to protect, not destroy. Life is sacred. Life is fragile. And life is meant to be shared with care. If this story touched your heart, Let it remind you that the world changes when people choose goodness again and again. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to this channel, and comment where you are watching from to support our growth. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in our next story.